You think the problem is slow progress? It is not. The problem is your addiction to speed. You want results now? You want the body now? The money now? The success now? But power does not come to the impatient. Real power compounds in silence, slowly, invisibly, painfully. The world will never reward you for what you start. It only rewards what you finish. And if you cannot delay pleasure, you will delay greatness forever. Everyone wants to win, but no one wants to wait. That is the disease of this generation. You want the body in 30 days, the money in 7 days, the fame overnight. And when it does not show up on your timeline, you quit. You call it failure. You say it is not working, but the truth is it was working. You just did not wait long enough. You did not stay consistent long enough for the compound effect to show its face. Because the beginning always looks like nothing is happening. That is how compounding works. Silent, invisible, boring, unimpressive, until one day it explodes. But you are too addicted to dopamine to wait. You are too in love with results to respect the process. So you bail. You switch. You start over again. You think something is wrong with the path, when in reality, something is wrong with your patience. You have been lied to. You think success is fast. You think greatness should feel exciting. But that is not the truth. The truth is, all things powerful start off looking like failure. The strongest tree looks like a useless seed for months. The strongest man looks like a clueless amateur in the beginning. The most brilliant mind looks like a nobody while studying in silence. This is the brutal truth no one told you. In the beginning, greatness is disguised as obscurity. And most people are allergic to obscurity. They want praise before they deserve it. They want the crown before they bleed for it. They want the finish line while still standing at the start. The moment the results are not immediate, the excuses begin. Maybe I am not good enough. Maybe this is not my path. Maybe the timing is off. Maybe I should try something else. Maybe I need to rest. All of that is code for, I do not want to be uncomfortable, because discomfort is the currency of compounding, and compounding is the currency of greatness. But we live in a world of shortcuts, viral fame and quick dopamine. So your brain has been trained to believe that if success is not instant, it is not real. That is the biggest lie ever sold. Real success is delayed. Real progress is boring. Real transformation looks like nothing for a long time. And that is why most people fail, not because they lack talent, but because they lack patience. They give up in the soil stage. They leave during the drought. They quit when it still looks like a seed. They never stick around to see it bloom. And here is what they never learn: compounding does not work linearly. It works like a silent storm building underneath the surface. First it is 1, then 2, then 3, then 5, then 8, then 13, but one day it jumps, it multiplies, breaks through in ways you never imagined. But you have to stay long enough for that jump to happen. Most people never make it. They quit at level 4, they quit at week 6, they quit after 100 views. They quit after 3 months at the gym, because they were trained to expect magic after 1 act of effort. You have been conditioned to believe that trying once should deliver something, but that is not how power works. That is not how mastery is built. That is not how legacies are written. What makes you powerful is not the intensity of your effort, but the duration of your consistency. That is what the system never told you, and why would it? A patient mind is dangerous. A delayed mind is focused. A person who can suffer in silence becomes invincible. That kind of person cannot be marketed to. They cannot be manipulated by speed. They do not need the instant hit. They are playing a longer game. That is why culture hides this truth. It wants you addicted. It wants you to chase hacks. It wants you to start and quit 1,000 things. Because when you are chasing speed, you are not chasing mastery. And if you are not chasing mastery, you are no threat. That is the real war. To make you impulsive, to make you fragile. To make you believe that if it hurts, stop. If it is slow, change paths. If it is hard, something is wrong. No. If it is slow, you are doing it right. If it is quiet, you are being forged. If it is painful, you are growing. If it is invisible, the roots are getting stronger. But no one claps for roots. They only clap when the tree is full. So you leave before the roots finish forming. You rob yourself of your own future because you could not wait. Because you could not suffer without reward. Because you could not delay the gratification. That is what separates the average from the great. Not genetics, not luck, not magic, just patience. Ruthless, disciplined, focused patience. The kind of patience that trains when no one is watching. The kind of patience that posts when no one is liking. The kind of patience that works when no one is clapping. The kind of patience that wakes up every day to do the same thing and finds joy in that silence. Because that silence is the sound of compounding. And that silence is where the monsters are built. You do not see them yet, but they are coming. The results are in motion. You just have to stop demanding them on your timeline and start respecting nature's timeline. Because nature rewards the long game. The tree that grows slow lives the longest. The mountain that forms over centuries never falls. The man who grinds for decades becomes a god among mortals. But the sprinters die out. The overnight stars fade. The fast burns out faster. Only the patient rise and stay risen. That is what they never taught you. That success is not about movement. It is about momentum. Momentum only comes to those who keep moving when nothing is moving. Let that sink in. Nothing will test your character like progress you cannot see. But that is the ultimate test. Can you keep going when there is no proof? Can you keep walking when the path is fogged? Can you keep planting when the soil is dry? That is how winners are made. That is how beasts are born. In the days no one sees, in the nights no one celebrates, the hours that feel pointless but are actually priceless. That is where the greats are forged. It's in delay and stillness. In obscurity, and one day, that obscurity will turn into omnipresence. But only if you wait. Only if you endure. Only if you stop falling for the lie of speed. Because speed is not power. Duration is, consistency is, compounding is, and that takes time. That takes pain. It takes a vision that is stronger than your urge for comfort. If you want the reward, earn the right to wait for it. Every day you show up in silence, you are building. Every act of discipline is a deposit into the compound effect. Every day of no applause is sharpening the blade, till one day the explosion comes, and it will look like magic. But it was never magic. It was just compounding, finally becoming visible. If you truly understood compounding, you would never complain about slow growth again. You would stop asking when it will pay off. You would stop chasing fast results and start chasing consistency. Because compounding does not reward the talented. It rewards the consistent. It works in money. It works in skills. It works in fitness, relationships, mindset, confidence. But it only works when you are patient enough to let it breathe. To let it do its job. And its job is not to impress you today. That means in the beginning, growth is microscopic. It's almost invisible. But once it hits a certain threshold, it explodes. Suddenly, everything accelerates. Suddenly, everything clicks. Suddenly, your efforts multiply. They are not obsessed with instant validation because they know the law. They know that every rep they do today will double later. Every book you read, every rep you do, every hour you focus, it all adds up, but you can guarantee that it will. That is what makes it dangerous. It is slow, but it is certain. It is boring, but it is unbeatable. And the longer you stay in the game, the bigger your edge becomes. Because most people quit too soon. They do not realize that compounding punishes inconsistency, but it massively rewards endurance. Even the bad days count. Even the off days count, as long as you show up, it compounds. So stop judging your progress by what you can see today. And the math is beautiful. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8. And one day, 8 becomes 100. Not because you were special, but because you stayed. Because you refused to quit. Because you refused to let boredom steal your destiny. Start trusting what you are building underneath. Because if you do it, right compounding makes success inevitable. That every skill they sharpen in silence will explode later. That every piece of content, every dollar invested, every early morning, every disciplined act will compound into something massive if they just stay the course. Can you stay the course when no one is watching? Can you keep depositing into a system that does not pay you back today? They find romance in repetition. They worship the grind, not the goal. They live inside the system. Because they do, the system rewards them with an empire. That is the law. Beator get crushed by those who do. Because if the answer is yes, compounding will make you unstoppable. In every area: fitness, wealth, skill, knowledge, power, reputation, confidence, all of it. But you have to survive the boring phase to get there. You have to endure the phase where it looks like it is not working. That is the part that destroys 99% of people. They cannot handle the silence. They cannot handle the lack of results. So they stop. They switch paths. They start over again and again, which means they never give compounding a chance to work. They reset the curve every time. Its job is to transform you over time. Tiny actions repeated daily. Tiny deposits made consistently. But every inch it rolls, it collects more. And then suddenly, it gets bigger, heavier, faster, until it becomes unstoppable. That is how compounding works. But the question is, can you keep rolling when it still looks small? Can you keep showing up when it feels pointless? Can you keep moving forward when the results are not showing yet? That is the price of compounding. Consistency in the dark. Discipline in the drought. Faith without feedback. But if you can pay that price, you win. They do not look like much, but they build. They stack. They grow silently until one day they explode. That is the law. But here's the problem. The beginning of compounding is brutally unrewarding. Not dopamine. Study systems. Not hacks. Because compounding is not emotional, it is mechanical. If you feed it long enough, it pays you back. It's not just with results, but with transformation. And here's what most people miss. Compounding is not just about what you get. It is about who you become. When you show up every day, even without applause, you build resilience. When you work silently for years, you build self-respect. When you stay consistent in the dark, you build an identity that says, I am not here to impress. I am here to become. That is the gift of compounding. Not just success, but self-mastery. It feels like nothing, looks like nothing, feeds you nothing. And that is where most people lose the game. The committed, the ones who can suffer through the invisible phase. But most people never learn that. They give up while the magic is still underground, by outcomes, by applause. But compounding laughs at applause. It does not need recognition, it needs repetition. Let me say that again. Compounding does not reward effort, it rewards repetition. Why the guy who trains for 10 hours once a month gets no results, but the guy who trains 1 hour every day becomes unstoppable. Not because of intensity, but because of frequency. Repetition beats brilliance. Repetition beats talent. Repetition beats almost everything. That is the law, but no one wants to follow it. They rip up the roots and walk away because the tree did not bloom fast enough. It feels like doing the same thing over and over again without seeing any reward. But what you do not see is that every rep, every post, every late night, every lonely morning is adding up. It is building layers. It is creating momentum, not on the outside, but in you, in your wiring, in your confidence, in your subconscious, in your soul. And one day, it shows up externally. One day, the world notices what you built silently, and they call it overnight success. But it was never overnight. It was compounding all along. And then they wonder why nothing ever works for them. It is because they quit before it got good. Compounding is the most powerful force you are not using. Because we have been taught to measure success by what is visible, because it is not sexy, it is not fast, it does not feel magical, it feels like work. Its compounding is not linear, it is exponential. Imagine a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it is tiny, slow, unimpressive. That is why people who understand compounding look different. They are calm, patient, relentless. They do not need quick hits. They are not checking metrics every day. You want to be great? Study compounding, not success stories. Study discipline. And the best part? It is always working. Even when it looks like it is not. You might not be able to predict when it pays off. So ask yourself, can you do the work when it is thankless? But the gateway is discipline, and the currency is time. You cannot buy it, you cannot shortcut it. You can only show up and trust the math. That is the true secret of winners. They fall in love with compounding. If compounding is the engine of greatness, then delayed gratification is the fuel. It is the rarest ability in the modern world because everything around you is designed to destroy it. You are living in a culture that worships now. Fast food, fast likes, fast money, fast comfort, but you are paying a heavy price for it. The trophy before the suffering, but the winners, they flip it. They suffer early so they can celebrate later. Every time you resist the urge to quit, to waste time, to indulge every time you delay gratification, you are making a deposit into that account. Years of training when no one was watching. Years of being underestimated. They lived in the shadows while everyone else chased the spotlight. That is how they became great. While others chased attention, they chased depth. While others wanted applause, they built silence. While others took the candy, they planted seeds. Now, you are training your willpower like a warrior trains his blade. The best connections come when you delay the need for control, attention, or validation. You have to believe in a future so deeply that you can say no today with peace in your heart. Most people do not have that. They do not have a future strong enough to overpower their present weakness. That is why they break. That is why they settle. Because their vision is too small. But if your vision is massive, if your future is loud enough, you can endure anything now. Breathe and remember, this moment is a test. This moment is an opportunity to grow your power, to prove to yourself that you are not like the rest, that you are not a slave to urgency, that you can wait, you can suffer, you can build. When the time comes, you will have earned every bit of it. This is the same in work. Mastery comes when you delay the need to feel finished. This is the same in training. And when that day comes, it will not be luck. It will not be fate. It will not be magic. It will be the result of 1,000 small decisions. To wait, to work, to want more than now. That is delayed gratification. That is power. That is you. Real strength comes when you delay comfort and embrace the grind. Every area of life gets better when you build this superpower, because it is the foundation of every breakthrough. And over time, you build a tolerance to discomfort, build an immunity to distraction. You build a lifestyle around saying no, not because you hate pleasure, but because you know real pleasure comes later, earned, multiplied, respected. See it so clearly that it drowns out the cravings of today. That is why skipping pleasure today is not punishment, it's preparation. You are training your body, your mind, and your spirit to become something most people will never touch, because they are too busy chasing now, but not you. We're building forever, and forever is never built in a day. Picture the version of you who stayed strong. Picture the version of you who waited. Picture the version of you who chose discipline over desire and earned everything they ever wanted. That version of you is real. But they only exist if you make the right decisions now. And every time you delay gratification, you step closer to them. And one day, that account explodes. With discipline, with wealth, with confidence, with mastery. But it only pays those who pay it forward. Those who sacrifice now. But delayed gratification kills that addiction. It teaches you to delay the need for emotional payment. It teaches you to separate effort from reward, and that makes you dangerous. Why they never get in shape. Why they never master any skill. It is because they cannot delay gratification. They would rather eat the cookie today than feel proud in 6 weeks. They would rather buy the shoes than build a portfolio. They would rather scroll than study. That is not laziness. That is addiction. They are addicted to immediate payoff. But if you can break that addiction ever in a little, you change everything. Because now you are working not for a quick high but for deep transformation. You are playing a longer game. And in a world addicted to now, that makes you unstoppable. Those who are willing to look broke, be ignored, and stay unknown for years because they believe in the long game. They delay everything pleasure, validation, ease, because they know it multiplies in value when it is earned. They do not run from pain. They run toward purpose. You post, you wait, you get a hit of dopamine. You scroll, you get a new thrill every second. You want something? Click order, arrive, same day. Your brain is being trained like a junkie. And every time you give in to the instant hit to, weaken the muscle of delay. That muscle is your edge. Without it, you will chase pleasure and run from purpose your entire life. That purpose gives them the power to say no. No to distraction. No to shortcuts. No to the low-hanging fruit that poisons your hunger for more. because real success, the kind that lasts, is always delayed. It never shows up on demand. It never rewards the impatient. It never bows to the addicted. It waits. It tests. It separates the committed from the curious. And only those who can wait, truly wait, get to taste it. The science is simple. The longer you can delay gratification, the greater your results in life. This is not a theory. It is a proven law. The marshmallow test. Stanford children offered one marshmallow or two if they waited 15 minutes. The ones who waited, they did better in school, better in health, better in income, better in life. Why? Because they understood something deeper. You do not get everything now. If you do, you will never build anything lasting. But this goes far beyond marshmallows. This is about your entire life. Can you skip the party today to build the future tomorrow? Can you resist the comfort today to unlock greatness later? Can you stay focused while the world screams distraction in your face? That is what delayed gratification is. It is not just about resisting temptation. It is about rewiring how you think about time, effort, and reward. It is about training your brain to value long-term over short-term, depth over speed, mastery over applause. Most people lose because they want too much too soon. They want the reward before the work. Think of your future self like a bank account. Look at any great performer, athlete, creator, entrepreneur. Their success was never instant. It was delayed. It came after years of obscurity. But here's the dark truth. The world does not reward patience anymore. It punishes it. Social media trains you to want everything now. That is why your discipline breaks so easily, because you have wired your brain to need something now, a result now, a feeling now, a win now. Do you want to know why most people never save money? Because now, you are living in the future. Now, you are sacrificing in advance. This is the same in relationships. But it is not just about willpower. It is about vision. You have to see what is coming. So build that future in your mind. That is why discipline is love. It is why saying no to comfort is saying yes to legacy. So next time you feel like quitting, like indulging, like giving in to the quick hit pause, the world may not reward you today, but the future will. Discipline will fail, willpower will run out, motivation will vanish, but systems are built to survive you. They are the invisible machines behind every extraordinary life. And if you want to master the power of compounding and delayed gratification, you need to stop relying on emotion and start building systems that trap you into success. Because here is the raw truth. Your environment is stronger than your discipline. Rich people do not wake up every day and decide whether they should save or invest. Are you deciding what to do every day from scratch? Are you waking up asking, should I work today? Should I train? Should I read? That is weakness. That is exposure. Stop chasing the dopamine of novelty and build routines that are brutally repetitive. Winners are not addicted to variety. They are addicted to results. They do the same thing every day. Time, a place, a trigger that begins the session every day. Or are you just hoping inspiration will strike? You say you want to build a business. But do you have systems for customer growth, for product development, for execution? Or are you winging it every day? Because systems are not just about ease, they are about commitment. When it is harder to fail than to succeed, you know your system is working. All built on systems that make failure difficult and success predictable. No one drifts into greatness. They design their way there, brick by brick, behavior by behavior, decision by system. Hope is not a system. Intention is not a structure. Only structure builds legacy. They are the ones you grow addicted to. They become your new identity. You stop saying, I want to write, and you start saying, I am a writer. You stop saying, I should eat better, and you start living like someone who does. Build the system. Make it simple. Make it brutal. Make it boring. Watch what happens when effort becomes automatic. When decisions vanish, progress becomes inevitable. That is how legacies are built, not with passion, but with process. That is when you know you are playing at a different level. The level where success compounds without you needing to chase it. Your system becomes a mirror of who you are becoming. And that identity becomes harder and harder to break. Eat the same meals, follow the same rituals, live inside the same structure. Build a system that catches your triggers and routes your response. When your emotions scream, your system whispers. When your discipline dies, your system continues. It does not care how you feel. It does not care what happened today. It only follows orders. It only repeats the process. And that repetition becomes your competitive edge. You want to grow spiritually, intellectually, financially? Then stop thinking in goals and start thinking in systems. Systems make your vision operational. They bring it down from the clouds and install it into your daily grind, because they know structure is what protects you when your mood betrays you. The more boring your system, the more extraordinary your results. That is leaving your future in the hands of emotion. Because building a system is not sexy. It is not flashy. No one claps for your spreadsheets or your calendar. No one applauds your meal prep or your wake-up time. Systems live in silence. But that is why they work. They are too boring to fail, too repetitive to forget, too rigid to fall apart. Step 3. Make that behavior automatic. If you want to read more, schedule 20 minutes before sleep. If you want to save money, automate transfers on payday. If you want to get in shape, sign up for a program and book it into your calendar like a job. No gaps, no guesswork, no emotion. Just system. And that rigidity becomes your advantage in a chaotic world. But if you have a system, a written routine, a calendar, a rule book, a schedule, a process that repeats whether you feel good or not, you remove emotion from the equation. You remove choice. And that is where real power lives. Not in more decisions, but in fewer. They set up automatic systems, auto-investing, auto-budgeting, auto-payments. The decision is made once. System repeats it forever. That is the key. Systems convert one-time decisions into permanent habits. That is how compounding becomes effortless. If you keep placing yourself in situations that demand constant self-control, you will burn out. But if you design a system that eliminates decision-making, limits temptation, and reinforces focus, then you do not need motivation. You just need to follow the system. And every time you do, you make another compounding deposit into your future. Think about how wealth is built. Now apply that to your life. Every time you reduce the need for willpower, you increase the chance of consistency. And consistency is the gateway to compounding. So build a system that punishes inconsistency and rewards execution. Build a system that rewards the version of you that shows up, not the one that procrastinates. If the gym is too far, move closer. If your diet depends on grocery shopping, automate it. If your focus breaks with your phone, lock it out. Change your environment to serve your future self.
Ow.
Build a machine around your mission and make it boring. Yes, boring.
Ow.
Now let us be real, most people will never do this. Your goals are not missing effort. They are missing infrastructure. You say you want to write a book? Do you have a system for writing? You want to compound your skills? Build a system that makes practice non-negotiable? You want to master your emotions? Here's how to start. Step 1. Identify the outcome. Step 2. Identify the behavior that leads to that outcome. And then build friction around failure. Make it painful to skip. Make it public if needed. Bet money. Tell a friend. Set consequences. The best systems are not ones you force yourself to follow. Remember, your future is not a dream. It is a system repeated daily. Compound execution, compound focus, compound patience. When the world collapses, your system holds. So design it like your life depends on it, because it does. Stop relying on your mood. Start relying on your mechanism. That is how the patient win. That is how the committed rise. Let me ask you something dangerous. What if the only thing standing between you and your dream life is your inability to wait? What if everything you ever wanted, power, freedom, wealth, mastery, peace, was already on its way? But you quit the process because it did not come fast enough. People want magic, but they are allergic to patience. They want rewards, but they cannot endure silence. They want the destination, but they abandon the road when it feels too long. And that is why most lives end in mediocrity, because they lacked talent. But because they lacked the strength to delay gratification long enough for compounding to work. This is the tragedy of our time. The most powerful rewards in this world are not given, they are grown. slowly, invisibly, underground. Same-day delivery, instant dopamine, quick wins, fast hacks. Everyone wants the shortcut, but here is the rule of reality. If it comes fast, it is probably cheap. If it arrives instantly, it probably does not last. Speed is a seduction, but delay is a test. It asks one question. Are you worthy of what you say you want? Or betraying it for a cheap thrill in the present? But we are killing that wisdom. We live in a culture of now. You say you want strength? Can you show up for 5 years before you see it? You say you want mastery? Can you train through the plateau where nobody claps? You say you want wealth? Can you build through boring decades without flashy validation? If you cannot delay, you cannot dominate. Because nothing great comes quick. Nothing lasting happens overnight, and no real transformation is painless. You never see the years you bled, the nights you sacrificed, urges you resisted, the rewards you delayed. But you will know that knowledge will set you on fire. This world hides its treasure behind time, behind sacrifice, behind invisible effort. The people at the top are not just more talented, they are more patient. It is about strategy. It is about living in reverse, doing the hard things first, so the easy life can come later. And if you reverse that, if you choose the easy things now, you are guaranteeing a hard life forever. They waited when others quit. They held the line when others broke. They believed in invisible progress, while others begged for proof. That is the difference. Not potential, not passion. Patience. Delayed gratification is not about suffering. But if you stay the course, if you keep compounding, if you delay long enough one day, the world will not recognize you. You delay 5 minutes today, and you gain a better hour tomorrow. You delay for 1 month, and the next year is easier. You delay for 5 years, and the next 50 become unstoppable. Something in you is waking up. Something in you knows that gratification without growth is garbage. This is not sacrifice. This is a time machine. You are pulling the future into your hands. Choose the path no one is willing to take. Share it with the one person who needs it, and hit subscribe. So take a look at your life. What are you choosing right now? Comfort or calling? Ease or evolution? Pleasure or power? Not followers, not fans, but fire, discipline, legacy. Every small decision is a vote. You are either voting for the future you want. But do not tell me you want to be a beast if you keep feeding your weakness. Do not say you want to build an empire if you cannot delay buying the next toy. Do not call yourself disciplined when you break the cycle the moment no one is watching. That is not power. It is pretending. True strength is invisible. It happens in silence. It compounds when no one is watching. And when it finally explodes, people call it luck. The richest man is not the one with money. It is the one who can say no. The strongest man is not the one who fights. It's the one who does not need to. The most dangerous person is not loud. It is the one who can wait, quietly, relentlessly, until the world bends to their level of consistency. You want freedom? Master delay. You want power? Master patience. You want a life no one else has? Then do what no one else is willing to do. Wait longer, work quieter, and walk straighter. The rewards are exponential, so whatever you are chasing, start compounding now, and guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. You might not see the change tomorrow, or next week, or next year. You will have built something no one can take away, and it will not be because you were smarter, richer, or luckier. It will be because you had the audacity to wait when everyone else gave up. This is how legacies are built, not through noise, but through patience. And if you are watching this, it means something in you refuses to settle. So burn the excuses, reject the comfort, delay now, dominate forever. And if this message hit your soul, if it challenged you, pushed you, reminded you of your power, then like the video. Because this is just the beginning. We are building beasts here. And if that is you, then welcome to the movement.